back to the channel. Today is Sunday, January 31st, 2021, and this is going to be a video log about my experience with the malaria miasm. So as you may know, if you've been watching my channel, I have been I've been working with a Heilkunst practitioner, and Heilkunst is a system of holistic medicine, which is rather obscure, which heavily utilizes an advanced form of homeopathy. And if you get into the writings of Samuel Hahnemann, which are fairly accessible online, one of the major topics that he discusses is something called miasms, which is genetically inherited predispositions towards certain disease states which are caused by pathogenic diseases that have affected the bloodline. So in the case of malaria, what this would mean is that an ancestor of mine would have contracted malaria. And given my bloodline, which I come from a line of mariners, so my ancestors were shipbuilders, and some of them sailed around the Horn and down into the Caribbean and things like that. This makes sense. I'm going to read you briefly a little piece of an article from Arcanum Holistic Clinic, and this is just a little short segment of an article called An Introduction to the Malaria Miasm, just to give you an idea of what we were clearing with this particular packet or remedy. And the state of mind of malaria is one of irritability, and to an even greater degree than in psora. And I'm just going to make a little side note here. Psora is the primary miasm from which all others originate, I believe. So feel free to fact check anything I'm saying, as I have not gotten deep into study with this yet, although this will be something I'm going to go to school for. It also surpasses psora in its degree of fatigue as well as pessimism. And I'm reading this right now because that matched my mental and emotional state quite often. And so yeah, the core feeling in malaria is of being victimized, which departs from psora's feeling of simply not having enough, and in parentheses, energy, time, money, etc., end parentheses. In the classic infection of malaria, the typical carrier is the mosquito, and if you think of any time you've ever felt bugged or even victimized by mosquitoes, then you will start to have a sense of this feeling in the malaria miasm. Malaria may feel overly sensitive, either physically or emotionally, and that their environment is hostile towards them. Both psora and malaria are diseases which primarily affect the warmth organism, and the patient suffering from these miasms will typically be very chilly. And so that's the end of, that's actually the last paragraph in the article. It's not a very long article, and I will post a link down in the description. I also I'm gonna recommend a new channel that I found, and it literally is a new channel. This is actually a Heilkunstler that has started making her own videos, which is really cool. So she's got probably 20 or 30 videos at this point. Not a lot of subscribers because Heilkunst is rather obscure. But her name is Stacey, and she has a video on this exact topic, which I'll also link down below. I'd encourage you to check out her channel if you would like some more information on Heilkunst specifically. So literally all of those, everything that we just read applied to me. In fact, the reason I moved to Florida was because I couldn't stand the cold. I hated winter with a passion. And just feeling victimized, feeling like my environment's very hostile, and you know, you can very, very strongly see this state of mind in some of my earlier videos, especially some of the ones about, well, you know, mind control and MK Ultra and SRA and those types of things. And I've really come to a place now where I'm looking at all of those topics from a much more balanced and centered place, and realizing that, you know, I have the ability to really overcome anything that's thrown at me. And I'm not saying that these things aren't being thrown at people. I mean, it's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is that you can find it within yourself to bring yourself to a place where these things don't have any power over you. And part of doing that is doing some of this work and clearing, right? And you know, obviously, as you know, as if you've watched my channel, that, you know, I do a lot of other work. You know, I do you know, deep breathing and meditation practices, and I do you know, I've been throwing the circle of the magician, you know, as Seth Esposa teaches, and just doing a lot of different stuff, right? Doing a lot of shielding work, you know, practicing some magic and this and that, right? And you know, I've tried to tie all of this together in a way that's palatable for you guys if you watch a channel and that sort of thing. But you know, I just want to talk a little bit about my experience over the past month or so, because I took this packet, I took this healing remedy, and I've been going through the healing reaction for about the past month, and it's really shifted some things. It wasn't an overly difficult packet for me to go through. Some of the previous ones have been extremely difficult, but I noticed that the emotional remedies have really lightened up since I did the syphilis miasm, which I made a video on probably about 6 months ago, and that one was really tough. And ever since that one, though, all of the emotional remedies have been a lot harder to go, or a lot easier to go through. Sorry. In fact, the NSOL packets that I've spoken about were some of the hardest ones I've ever, you know, taken. And I actually took one about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And I've had a couple little emotional spikes, but it hasn't really been that bad. And so we opened up some doorways there and cleared some energy that really have brightened things up and just made things a little bit easier. But you know, I was basically I had what you could call PTSD, and I was definitely chronically irritated by not only just people in my environment, but any kind of like noise, like external noise. I had a really big problem with, and I'm living in a roommate situation right now, and man, I tried to meditate, I tried to do all these things to, you know, condition my mind to accept the things in my environment, and it just wasn't giving, man. And now that I've taken this packet, it really seems to have made a huge difference. Like I'm way less irritable just in the last month, and really the only thing that I can nail down that's changed is the fact that I've taken this packet. And so it's really opened up some doors for me. Another thing is that, you know, it talks about you know, feeling victimized, and also if you watch Stacey Dye's video, you know, I think that people with this miasm literally, and this might sound crazy to you, but can literally be like mosquito magnets. In fact, it's funny because me and my father, both those people that, like, we'll be in a group of people outside and we'll be the only ones getting bit by mosquitoes. It's like they target us for some reason. And not only did I feel like that, you know, with literally mosquitoes, but like I also felt like that in school when I was younger, and I felt like that a lot of my life. Like I just feel like I'm being singled out and picked on for some reason, and I can't figure out why, right? And something interesting occurred, and in Heilkunst, this is there's a term for this. It's literally called an occurrent, which would be more aptly characterized in the mainstream vernacular as, you know, a synchronicity, right? Just a few days ago, I had the experience of someone that I felt threatened by, that I had been avoiding for quite some time. somewhat irrationally, frankly, and I'll explain a little bit about this, but I had the experience of bumping into this person and having to essentially face some of my fear, and there was a peaceful resolution there, and we shook hands and we parted on good terms, and that was a really really important experience for me because I had been sort of projecting these irrational fears around possibly seeing this person and what could potentially happen and that sort of thing. And then the reality of it was that it ended up being a really positive experience. And so, what I realized was that in a lot of cases that my mind was going to the worst case scenario with a lot of things, and I was in a state of mind of somewhat feeling victimized, feeling paranoid about being victimized, and it was clouding my ability to make rational decisions, and to really function properly in the world and get things done, because we have to be able to go out and deal with situations and deal with people that maybe we do have a little bit of conflict with, but we've got to be able to face that, right? And there was a period of time when I was younger when I was not able to do that to any degree whatsoever, and it's just these small incremental little steps, towards balance, towards health. Conflict resolution is something that I talk about quite a bit, and that I work with clients on, and that I've had to practice quite a bit myself. Great book, just real quick. Nonviolent Communication, Marshall B. Rosenberg, is a great book for learning some conflict resolution skills that most of us have not been taught to any degree whatsoever. It's really interesting. I just feel a lot more at peace with my environment now. Interestingly enough, external experience will often correspond to your internal energy. So my environment right now is a bit chaotic. I live in a neighborhood that's pretty noisy, and there's a lot of negative vibes here, and but it's almost like I needed to go through this experience to a degree to have that contrast shown to me, and to, I think, have the experience of being able to overcome it, seeing everything for what it is. And I think now that I've had that experience, I really feel as though things are opening up in a way for me that really wasn't possible before. And I do think that clearing these types of miasms and I think that it's possible to do this through other mechanisms, like perhaps different forms of energy healing, yoga, even meditation, working on things from the mental plane. Everything has correspondences. However, this is what's working for me. And if you're someone who has trouble disciplining yourself to engage in some of those other practices, I would highly recommend checking out this avenue of healing, because it really can give you a leg up and give you the support that you need long term, and to then be able to maybe develop the discipline to do those other things, because some of us are so internally perturbed that trying to do those other things is next to impossible. And that's one of the reasons why sobriety was next to impossible for me until I started working with a Heilkunst, because my emotional inner state and the amount of physical pain that I was enduring on a daily basis was to such a high degree that I literally couldn't concentrate on anything, and it was the degree of suffering that I was enduring was so intense that I couldn't help but keep pressing that relief valve, which a long time ago was heroin, and then a few years back, 3-4 years ago, was alcohol every day, and then but through this process of slowly being able to just shed nearly everything, and come to a state of balance, and been able to start developing coping skills and developing healthy relationships with people, so gaining the support that I need, and the feeling of being part of a community and a tribe. And it's really been a positive experience for me. Now, the first couple of years of this treatment were extremely difficult. The remedies were some of them were really hard for me to get through. But over time, things have sort of lightened up. And while they are still challenging, and I do kind of expect that I still will occasionally run into some more challenging healing reactions and remedies. I think that when that does occur, that I will be better equipped to handle them than I was in the past, because my way of handling them in the past was, reaching for drugs, alcohol, sex, etc. So, yeah, it's a slow unfoldment. It's a slow process of improvement. Real change does not happen overnight for anyone. Anyone who tells you that, I don't think has actually gone through that themselves. Any of these people, trying to sell you things and telling that you can change your entire life in 30 days. Frankly, that has not been my experience to any degree. I've had to work extremely hard on many different facets of my life to begin to come to a degree of well-being, especially within the environment and situation that we find ourselves in now. Last year was extremely difficult, for everyone. So I will say briefly that I am thankful, and I'm a little proud of myself for maintaining my sobriety through 2020. That was it still kicked my ass mentally and emotionally. And I was going through some very difficult remedies. I ended up going through the syphilis miasm in the middle of all of that. I was met the girl that, or not met the girl, but came into contact with the person that I perceived to be my twin flame. That really screwed me up for a while. I was processing a lot of stuff with that and dealing with a lot of negative emotions there. And so it was a very challenging year, but overall very positive. And yeah, I'm just going to keep moving forward. And I've got a few things. I've got a few doorways opening up right now. Some very positive shifts going on. I'm not going to share them right now. I want to make sure that I'm solid in what I'm doing before I share certain things. Yeah, I've kind of gotten to this place where I'm sharing less of my goals with other people and taking action on them first. And, I can talk about it after I've done it. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah, this is just a video log. I'm going to be done for today. Thank you for watching. Hope you're all doing well, and I'll talk to you again soon. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button down below and click the icon to your left to subscribe. New content every week about spirituality and addiction from myself, Joe Fortin. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.